Today on Warrior Sessions.
And it's the most dangerous thing I've ever done in my life. It nearly killed us and me multiple times. It's not something I condone, and this is my disclaimer. Don't ever do what I've done. It's too dangerous. Don't ever do it. I will tell you. You don't need to. I will tell you. You can ask me. I found out why this has happened to humanity, who is doing it, why they're doing it. There were a few times where I actually thought I was going to lose my mind and I was going to die, and I had to ring Hazel because she was in another country at the time, and she helped hold me and bring me down. And I had to do an exorcism. I've had to do loads of them, but it wasn't a demonic exorcism. It was an extraterrestrial exorcism, mate.
And
Much stronger than any demonic exorcism. Okay, it's the kind of level I went to.
then suddenly I had my awareness of that happening. I was like, no. And I just chucked this light at her. She wanted me to agree that my work was causing this person worse unstabilization. And I went, explain stable. She went, well, medication. I went, that's never going to help anybody. And I had this interaction. It's like me and you, but it wasn't over a screen. It's face to face. It was proper intense. And I just said, I completely disagree with you. A person must talk about their story. Oh,
A little candle for us.
yeah, that's nice. That's really nice. I'm going to do the same. I was going to grab mine one better. I know it's normally lit, so yeah, good shout. Good shout, my friend. Oh, actually, let's put that there, bring this one over. So I've been burning a chakra one, which was made by a dear friend of mine. So I'll like that one. Oh dear, that's some good shit.
Yeah, okay.
Well done, you.
So, just going to open up
Yeah.
our session with a little prayer. So, thank you, Michael, for being here again for another session. And I welcome both of our ancestors, our spiritual guides. And just for fun, I'm going to invite all the archangels to play with us and guide us. And Joshua and Mary, apparently.
Okay.
And I welcome the seven directions. Welcome direction of north, east, south, west, up, down, and in. And I've been learning even more about the seven directions is that it's actually a hexagon as well. So I'd like to welcome the honey and the bees. And it's also a cube. So I welcome the cross and the unfolding of ourselves, because when the cube unfolds, it makes the sign of the cross, which is also the sword, which is the sword of truth, which is the definition of the masculine. It's part of the prophecy of the sword and the rose, which is the coming together of the masculine and feminine. Welcome. Thank you very much. Oh,
Aho.
and welcome my cacao.
Yeah, that's nice. I welcome my water and sage. I didn't have cacao this morning. Good. Enjoy. 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 Enjoy.
So I was editing the video from last week, and
Mm.
it's such a great podcast.
Is it?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
such a great
really? I'm pleased that you're pleased. I mean, Can I
Absolutely.
be honest? I can never remember because it's so in the moment. It's so beautiful that I love that I don't remember. So it'd be great to check in with it at some point and see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
who wants to go first today?
Well, I think you've got that your energy about you. I think you should just go
Yeah.
for it.
Okay.
I've got that vibe. I've got that vibe today.
Vibe. Okay.
The vibe that I'm just feeling like I need to hold. So you go.
Okay. Yeah, it seems to
Mm.
be a bomb going off every week at the moment, if not every day. So I'll give you the short story and then I'll delve into some depth of what's going to happen. But you know, I've been struggling financially and you've helped me out, which has been amazing. But what happened, what we realized is that Hazel started getting downloads, I started getting downloads, and there was this confliction of who's right. But we were coming with different information. We were like, okay, we need to meet in the middle and fix this out. So we sat opposite each other in ceremonial process on Hazel's bed because she's got a poster bed, so I could lean back and we can face each other. And she said because she went to Glastonbury
Okay.
and she did a priestess goddess conference and she learned a lot and
Yeah.
really really
Good.
profound.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of sabotage going on there, which we can talk about, which is really interesting on the feminine side. Really
Okay.
interesting. I think you'll find it fascinating. And let me just write that down so I don't forget. Yeah, that's really interesting. You'll find that interesting. So, um, where was I? So,
Hazel,
yeah.
Glastonbury,
So we sat opposite each other.
downloads.
She went to Glastonbury. And when she was away, I journeyed. I had a very, very powerful ceremony on my own because Hazel hasn't not been in the house since November last year. And what happened was that having solitude activated one of my gifts because I haven't had solitude. And I started to get enormous downloads about my future and loads of other things. And I said to Hazel, I've got loads of good news for you, and news about the portal, the Lionsgate portal on the 8th of August and the emergency 999 on the 9th of September. And there's a lot going on. But she came with, I got some really hard truths for you. You're going to have to sit in front of me and listen. I'm like, oh. And so I was doing what I'm talking into here, Michael, is like again, yeah, this podcast really represents in a lot of ways the wolf. Yeah, you and I are wolf walkers. I gave you the Howlite Stone. You have that
Yeah.
wolf spirit. I have a wolf spirit as well. And like I said in the last podcast, one of the shadows of the wolf is enablement. And what I've been realizing is that I have been enabling myself on an extremely self-destructive and toxic way. And I realized that the reason we've been in Wales for the past year is to cleanse it. And one of the first downloads Hazel got was, "Our time is done here. Now we need to leave." And my bad news to Hazel was, we got no money for rent, and the rent was due yesterday, and our landlord is going mental, understandably, right? So but this chat we had was on Saturday. The rent was due on the second, which was a Saturday, but because banks are closed, doesn't come out to the Monday, right? So for oh God, okay. So we sat opposite each other, and she brought me down to earth, right? Because I'd essentially what I've been doing is, spiritual, 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 spiritual. None of this grounded stuff, and this is why I've been bringing up this anger to anchor me in my dark masculine. And the dark masculine comes with some hard truths as well. And it comes often with a lot of stern, you know, anger, you can call it, and often a lot of rage and grief to open it up, to purify it, to because anger is pure. Anger is really like this is what needs to happen. This is where we go. We need to take responsibility, blah 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 blah, right? And this might make you laugh. I hope it does, right? But you're this is so wild what is happening. So she sat me down, we sat up to each other, and she said, we can't rely on magic to sort this out, right? And I know how that sounds. It sounds like, well, yeah, duh, yeah, take responsibility, get a job, right? But the whole plan was that I would never have to work for someone ever again. That was my plan, right? And I saved up over, I don't know, I was working in finance for a long time. I saved up over 30,000, and I was using that to support Hazel and I for the past 3 years. And we got so close, Hazel just so close to launching the Oracle deck. I was so close to publishing my books, just a lot of so closes. And then a cataclysm of cancellations from clients and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden having no money, right? And then because I had that awakening on my own, this big part of me came in. And then when I sat opposite Hazel and we were in ceremony together, right, I'll tell you something really interesting in order for you to understand is that these necklaces that I make, that we make, they're shamanic, right? And they're like portals. So when I put this on, I'm put on the head of a wolf. So when I put it on, I put on the wolf, right? And when I sat opposite Hazel, I put on my tiger necklace. Yeah, honestly, that one of the most advanced animals you can ever work with is the tiger. Wow, it's so destructive on a unheard of levels. It's the gift of the tiger is so powerful. It's fruition. Like in the film Aladdin, where he goes into the cave and he finds a genie lamp. It's a
Mm.
tiger temple, right? That's the power of the tiger. That's how much wealth is hidden within the tiger, right? It's enormous, absolutely enormous. But the shadow is just the most difficult to purify because if you can't make your dreams come true in the way that you want them to come true, you tear them all down and destroy them and destroy anyone else's dreams that are near to you, that you care about, because it's all about self-destruction. And what better way to destroy yourself than destroy the people you love? This is where a lot of violence comes from in the masculine. And so I grew up with this. Like, we talk about trauma and violence. You ever heard the saying of you can't have two tigers on one mountain? I
Mm.
grew up living with three.
Yeah.
Tigers are highly territorial. They like to be on their own most of the time.
Yeah.
And my dad was a tiger, and my brother was a tiger, and you know, my friend Steve, who's a martial artist, and loves punching people in the face, is a tiger. It's very, very, very aggressive animal. Does not mess about. Does not take prisoners. Does not hold back. Does not hold back. Right. And it's sexual as well, so it's about that sexual prowess as well, life force, creativity. You can't have fruition without life force. And so can you imagine that violent energy mixed with sexual energy? It's the most toxic bomb you can imagine. It's horrendous, right? And so I've been cleaning that, and it's been so rough that I don't even want to talk about the details because it's that bad. It's the worst thing I've ever thus far. I hope there's nothing worse. It's the worst thing I've had to purify. It's horrible, horrible. lots of past life shit, right? And so to cut a long story short, put on the tiger necklace, right? Tiger came in, huge energy, purified. But what was really fascinating is that when I spoke, is the first time I'd ever used the purity of my voice. But and so what was happening, like have you ever seen those videos of when they open a dam for a reservoir that's been closed, all this shit starts to come out, right? And so when I spoke, it was so painful because it was every time I spoke, it was like somebody was punching me in the stomach because I had just taken full responsibility for everything that I had done to myself. And what I have done to myself is like worse than stabbing myself in the back. It's like, what's the worst thing I could ever do to myself? The worst, worst of the worst. What's the worst thing? And that's what I did to myself. I still haven't got over it yet. I'm still furious at myself and I'm going through this healing process. The wound's still open. But because I was brave enough to take that step, fruition came in immediately. And it was not what I thought it was. And this is what I'm hoping will make you laugh, right? I have to get my old job back in
Mm.
finance. I have to get a job in order to make our dreams come true, right? And what came up immediately, and it's so fascinating because there was this turn of events that happened immediately. I went on LinkedIn. I don't go on LinkedIn,
No.
right? But I got a good profile on there for my old, what I used to. But
Yeah.
I haven't worked in finance for 3 years, and because I wanted to leave all that behind. And I got a message from my old teammate.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I connected with her, and then had a call with her, and I said, just off the cuff, you don't have any job vacancies, do you? She goes, well, I'm team manager now, and I'm looking for someone.
That is divine.
Yeah, but the company's been bought out by another company, and they're not hiring at the moment, so it's still a bit up in the air.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So then I contacted the guy who hired me, who got me there as a contractor, and he said, "Yeah, there's plenty of jobs going there." And like, okay, so that is terrifying.
Yeah.
But what I really want to talk about, which is really amazing,
Yeah.
and it's funny that this is, I'm talking about my journey from and how it links to art, right? This is exactly what happens in The Matrix, the movie. He goes back in, and I was talking about this. I've been saying this for the past couple of weeks. He goes back in to save Morpheus, and Morpheus represents his dreams, the dreams of humanity. So it's like I have to go back in to to do it, right? And I said to Hazel, I said it'd be hilarious if I got Michael to come back in with me.
Oh man.
Yeah, and
No comment.
we could be like wah, wah. And so and then right, I got more inspiration through art. Is have you ever seen the movie called Enter Galactic?
No.
I highly recommend it. Right, it's got divine union coding in it and art. It's about love. It's about love and art, right? And it's an animated movie made by a rapper called Kid Cudi, and
Okay.
it's beautiful. And it's a lot about marijuana as well, right? About smoking and how it's just all part of this beautiful love story, right? Anyway, in the movie, he's an artist and he creates his own character, and it's in real life as well. He's an artist in real life as well as a
Yeah.
rapper, right? And at the beginning, his character wears a black suit and a white shirt, right? Like everyone in London, yeah. And then when he falls in love, he changes the character and he wears a white suit and a black shirt. And I thought, that's what I'm going to do. Flip reverse it. Be be the spiritual bomb in London walking around, like taking his medicine and making it happen. You know, Kid Cudi, he's inspired me with his art.
Nice.
Yeah, really, right? And so that felt really powerful, and I felt because I'm going back in there, I'm not going back in there as I used to be. I'm going back in there as someone a lot more powerful.
Yeah,
And
true.
yeah, and I started getting all these visions of you know what is possible,
Of course.
and also a lot of fear, right? You know what London's like, right? And then this leads on to Glastonbury, right? What when Hazel and I were speaking about this, and I said I need to get a job, the relief on her face, right? You know, tears, like I'm so glad you've finally seen your folly, because I was the tiger on the mountain refusing to come down, right? And this is what the masculine does is, go on a lot of medicine journeys, gather all this wisdom and knowledge and become the sage on the mountain. Yeah, right? But does he create anything? No, it doesn't. Look at all the old sages. Oh, I can't remember all their names. What's one you know? He died recently, and what was his name in the few like I can't remember his name. Anyway, they just talk. They go to venues and they talk, right? They don't create. And so this is so profound, this journey I'm on with Hazel, because she's an artist and she's teaching me art and the importance of art and how it's so much bigger than men realize. It's profound. It's it's reality warping. It warps reality into creating something completely new based on love. Talking to people and preaching to people, it just doesn't make a difference because it just goes in the brain. You go, okay, yes, I need to do this. I want to be this person. I look up to this person. I put him on a pedestal. That's narcissistic. If we put anyone on a pedestal and not ourselves, we need to look up to each other, right? Like I look up to you, you look up to me. Yeah, I've always said this. If one of us is looking down on the other, there's an issue. And so Hazel told me that the feminine in divine union, and this makes so much sense, is the anchor for the sage to become a creator. It's really profound and difficult to put into words, right? And so what I'm realizing is that I am probably one of the first men in the world. I would love to know if there's someone else, but I'm probably one of the first men in the world from the spiritual community to put his money where his mouth is and go back into the matrix and share my light, right? Instead of fucking off to the countryside, which is what I've done, which is what I see a lot of men online doing, go off to the countryside, away from it all, like a monk, yeah, and again, a sage, like a monk on a mountain, away from it all, where I'm saying, okay, I want to make a change. I'm going back in and I'm going to make the change because it's never been done before.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really, really great. It's great. It's great. It's got a lightness to it now. It's not got a darkness because you're going in so better equipped. And if the tiger's just going to crush, destroy the dreams, self and others, that's so brave to have done that piece of work, to reflect on that and to go, I'm coming down from that mountain. There's nothing there now. I've seen that apart from dominion, control, and energy, which is like you say, it's powerful and beautiful, but also, yeah, damaging, toxic, like anything, if not seen as as an interrelatedness of needing other things to assist in this journey. But to know, sitting across from Hazel, she's gone to find her source of insight. You've had time for yourself. And it's come to the point where you're going to go and do something that would probably 6 months ago have not even been possible. But in order for you and Hazel to continue what you're doing, yeah, a folly. Yes, there's a little bit of naivety. You've reached a point where so much has gone on, so much good has gone on, so much beautiful, ceremonial, sacred union and work has happened there. So many lessons learned. And I'm really proud of you. I'm proud that you possibly could be. You're right. If I look at myself, I hold, as you know, space for quite a few people. One has just returned, but he's not doing a spiritual path like you. So he doesn't qualify for what you're saying. He's gone back because he's recharged now, and that is something that brings him happiness. And everyone's entitled to that. And if that's your first class travel to high, beautiful destinations around the world, then good for you. But you're going back in order to resource and be able to continue your work. But you're going in a completely different suit.
I'm going in as the antidote to
Yeah,
the virus.
yeah. And so that's it. But to have an instant sort of yes, 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 sort of energy of that makes sense. I think that's a brilliant. It's really life changing for you and Hazel. It's really life changing.
Yeah, and I
And it
wanted
is
to,
difficult to explain what I'm trying to say because you've had to reach it yourself, which I'm really pleased about as well.
yeah,
And I think it had to be this way. It had to be where, Michael, we don't have money to pay for being here. And I'm sad that that's been the case. But the way you can go on is by going back in, going back in.
yeah. And what it is, you and I are part of the Brotherhood Oracle.
Yes.
Again, art, right? Now, what Hayes and I noticed, because I have it on my altar right opposite me when I journey, and every time I journey, I see something new. It comes alive, and it's a washing machine, right?
Yeah.
And I'm washing the money.
Good.
Yeah,
That's it.
I'm like the antidote
You
to money
are.
laundering, right?
You are.
Yeah. And so,
You are.
you know, I couldn't rely on donations for people because in a respect it is immature for me to expect anything from the public, right? And I'm really thankful for those who did donate.
Of course you are.
But I need to give I want people to be a part of
You do.
this journey,
Yeah.
and but also to have something to work towards. And Hazel and I are creating something. We're doing something like an exhibition, right? Of this, like, because this isn't just for me. This is for everyone. You know that.
That's
Right?
it.
This is for everyone. I love everyone, and it's not easy. And if you've seen the movie, you know that he has to go through a lot of initiations, and he doesn't do it on his own. and it's very difficult, and I'm gonna have to go through parts of that, hopefully it'll
Yeah.
be easier. And but what I want to lead to is Hazel's journey to Glastonbury, and
Yeah.
the spiritual bypass that we're talking of, the spiritual community and the masculine, because you and I are
Okay.
masculine, and
Okay.
we can talk into that because we are men and we have that right.
Okay.
And there is a lot of good men out there who are doing the work. I've spotted a few online who do know what they're talking about, but
Mm.
again, they're on the mountain. They're on the mountain because it's all preaching. And I've been doing the same, right? And so in my life, I'm taking responsibility, and I'm going back in, and Hazel's doing a similar thing. She said she'll do anything she can to help me, even if that means driving me into London. That to me was like, oh wow, that's really kind of you. That's because she's so sensitive. She's ultra spiritual,
Yeah.
and so that's quite a
Yeah.
big thing for her to say that, right?
Yeah.
And she's never worked in London, so for her, it's like it's a nightmare being there. And when she went to, because she's a priestess, a high priestess of sacred sexuality. And there's someone in Glastonbury who has toxically taken over the goddess temple, and there's been a split. There's been two
Wow.
sides,
Okay.
and she's really toxic, and she's been misleading women,
Okay.
and she's been doing it out of sync with the true teachings of sacred sexuality, which is hugely destructive. And as
Okay.
you know, it's the heart chakra of the planet,
Sure.
Glastonbury.
Yeah.
And so, when I've been there, I've seen a lot of drunks on the street and, stuff like that. And
Yeah.
and Hazel went there this time with a different mentality of I'm not going to judge what's going on here on the street, and started speaking to a friend she had there who lives there. And there is a community there of like-minded people who aren't trying to bypass, who do want change. And so there could be an opportunity for me to go in there and start working with women, because that is what women are craving. They're craving a man to turn up and start speaking truth, not speaking down to them and trying to preach to them, to say like this is the work. And I was laughing to Hazel about confession. I sat in front of her and I confessed like I am to you now, right? That's true priesthood. That's real confession, right? So I was saying like, if I'm a priest and I go into Glastonbury, right, I'll say this is what a real priest would do. Today, we're talking about confession, and all the men are going to confess, and all the women are going to listen. That's what a true priest should do. And then the next ceremony, everybody comes in. Today we are talking about narcissistic behavior and dogma. That's what a real priest would do if he was speaking from love, right? And I've had that training. It's in my blood. It's in my blood, right? There's two animals that represent. There's the dark priest, which is the bat, and there's the high priest, which is the eagle. And I've been training myself with spirit, right? How to do that. And it's profound. It's profound. It's amazing. And a lot of it is confession. And I use the power of the bull as exposure, right? I'm on here. I'm sat here, right? I expose myself. All right, I've done videos on this. That's shadow work. I expose myself. I did some videos on exploitation, how I exploited the feminine. I take responsibility for that. I don't think I don't think there's any darker wound than that against feminine exploitation. It's horrendous. And when I said yes to this, to getting a job back in London, it opened up the third line of consciousness and the healing of genocide. And I realized that because I made that choice as that one man, it opens up the portal for other men. And because a lot of the portals have been hijacked, and so this is my way of chipping in, let's say, as a purification window, a purification portal right before these two massive portals and eclipse season coming up to help humanity make a different choice. Because right now, what I'm seeing, Michael, and I'd love to hear your opinion on this, is that because I said I wanted to talk about this last week with you, is that men aren't choosing for love. And I'm noticing this more often than I would like. Like men are cancelling, not working with me. Men are dumping their girlfriends. Fathers aren't turning up. And it's men are afraid. And I totally get it because what the tiger taught me is that I don't think anybody else could face that. It was such a horrendous sacrifice what I had to go through. It's taken me a year. It's the longest and deepest and most horrible wound I've had to overcome. And it led to me having to accept and take responsibility for all the things I never wished for, that I didn't want to do. But my soul has a different idea, right? So it was a massive ego death, massive integration. And I have been delaying myself for far too long because of this wound. And this is exactly what every masculine is doing. They're delaying their evolution. And in doing so, they're delaying the evolution of the feminine, delaying the evolution of humanity, delaying the evolution of creation, right? And so somebody has to step forward. Somebody has to say yes to love, right? And it only takes one. That's why they call Neo the one, right? Because he's the one that says, "Yeah, I'm going back in." No, everybody else thinks he's crazy, right? And this is how art works. And it is very humbling. It's not like in the movies, like, yeah, special powers, I'm the one, I'm going to do it. Yeah, I'm the best. It's not. It's extremely humbling. I don't want to do it, but I have to. I have to. And do you know what I see? The first thing that made me quite angry is that actually, I didn't do it for myself. And that's what's so humbling. It's that it's spirit's way of saying, well, this is your destiny. And like I said, Hazel's going into Glastonbury, and she's saying, I'm a priestess. I'm a pure priestess because I'm working in purity with a man, and this isn't happening in the goddess temple. And she's coming in, and she's going to stamp her change. So she's doing it for the feminine, because there are some really toxic feminine there that I can tell you are using their prowess to intoxicate men and create a toxic army of women. And it's all power. It's all power based, control based. It's like, the masculine, the toxic patriarchy has been in power for too long. Let's take it back kind of energy, right? Which is understandable, but that's not the future. The future is we live and work in harmony together. I came up with this rhyme. Women are free from toxic patriarchy. Women are free from toxic patriarchy. Because they are, and they
Yeah,
will be.
yeah, yeah. I really appreciate your share. Lots of Alistair here. Lots of really good energy, beautiful energy, and a real realization of, the next steps. It's just, it's really, really great. But I think, yeah, answering your question about what my opinions are on the responsibility to come off our mountains, to stop preaching, to take ownership, to work in that divine union within our divine masculine and feminine. Yeah, it's a big piece of work. It really, really is. For Michael, I am humbled that the energy that's happening around me, I'm holding a lot, as we've shared in these warrior sessions, the depths within self and the split psyche of just how one foot in life and one foot in death. And at some point, you got to make your choice. Are you going to walk around just surviving, or are you going to actually live and be the art that you're meant to be? And I think it takes time. We can see that. We can come up against lots of moments where we've got to suddenly do something different that we didn't think po was possible. But it's good to explore every avenue. So you had concerns about me holding people that were in extreme crisis. You were worried about that work. But when I explained to you that I'm coming from my heart, so I think I came down from my mountain
Yeah.
15 years ago, and I think my gentle manliness arrived in me, or the work began 15, yeah, maybe 15 years ago, maybe many lifetimes ago. But in this lifetime, there's been a significant shift in coming down from my mountain and taking ownership for my toxic behavior towards my own mother, um, and grandmother. And I'm thinking of those because they were treating males as if they were mules, as if they were just like, well, you go to work, but I'll do everything else. And then just this constant game playing of what's male, what's female. So I think that we're having this opportunity now as consciousness rises about what it is to be successful within a relationship, a community, but most important, what we're talking about is in ourselves. Like, is there lots of men out there that are really doing the work? Have I come across many? You? I can think of a few, but not a lot. I'm truly convinced have really come off their mountain because my children point out my shadows all the time. So I might think that I'm generous and caring, patient, forthcoming with ideas of how to get past something difficult. But actually, they say you're moody, you're distant, you're triggered a lot, you could be very horrible to mum. And I'm like, when? Wow. And that is like I'm smiling because I'm doing the work and I'm thinking, right, there's real love there. There's love because kids see it as they see it. They're a great mirror. And I'm very blessed to have them. And in there is so much of what you said, like, but I can't go off the mountain and expose myself. I can't come down out of the tiger energy because then everyone will see me for what I really am. Because all I can do is be territorial and come too close and I'll. It's like, okay, what are we talking about here?
That's really profound what you just said.
Yeah. How can I show my heart if the female doesn't really want to see it? And then you're going, mate, Hazel's come from Glasgow, the heart chakra, and it's not looking good from the priestess temple. I know so many priestesses. You'll know them because Hazel will know them. Sometimes they come to the house, sometimes they're holding ceremony. They are in relationships with the opposite sex and same sex, and but they're doing well, Lexi and I feel, but then Hazel's going, something's seriously wrong here. So if the female is being told, right, we gotta, you know, fight back this, and it's like, whoa. No, stop. That's not actually the true story of how we're going to be in the future. This is the story of the future. This is how we're going to be. I think you guys have just landed on the next part And the picture of art is forming again.
Yeah.
So for me, sitting with you again, I'm going to honestly say on this chat, I'm feeling very, very below where you're at. I'm not able to hold you at all. That's how I'm feeling. So I'm just going to come from the heart because this is what I want to say to the men that hopefully tune into it. If in doubt, come from the heart. Tell tell the opposite across the four poster bed or in the priesthood temple or the mountain or the woods or the pub. I actually have no idea why you're returning back to the banking system or the financial system. Why can't you just go and do this or do that and have these strong opinions? I'm saying, men, know that that person knows that they're returning into what they need to at that moment and just let's find non-judgment. I think that could be the first station.
Okay.
The first station for me is so many men come to me and I just want to say, what the? Right, do it this way and do it that way. But actually, how dare I sit on a mountain and be this? I know so much. I've had so much lived experience. Look what I've been through. Well, that's for me, that's sacred and personal. And for me to hold people that are suicidal is personal and means something on my journey, on my piece of art that's forming. So I
Yeah.
have no right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want men to know our first coming down from the mountain would be non-judgment. I think it'd be non-judgment. So as you start to go, fuck, I'm leaving the peak. I'm leaving my safe spot. Just try and find non-judgment first. See how it feels. Start playing around with it. Notice how you judge your kids or your wife or your girlfriend or your, your lover or your boss or your co-worker or your gardener or just notice little bits about maybe that inner critic that they're not doing it as they should be. Oh, I've told them 1,000 times because that gets in the way of the work that really needs to be done, which is what we've touched on before, the responsibility of us, of this I and then I thou. And you may be the only one that's going back in. You
Let,
may
let,
be,
let me explain what
yeah,
I'm gonna give you some what's it called? Foundations on which to stand so that everyone
yeah,
can understand
that'd be good.
what I've achieved and what I'm
Yeah,
trying to achieve, okay?
that's it.
So in
That'd be
20
good.
in 2020, instead of finding a way to avoid the pain I was going through and ending up probably in suicide or something worse, because there are worse things than suicide, I started taking responsibility, which meant first of all
Uh,
psychotherapy and then nurturance, exercise, loads of stuff, right? And then led towards plant medicine.
yeah,
What I immediately noticed with plant medicine is that it required integration, but nobody told me that. I had to learn it myself. And then I was being misled by loads of people who believed they knew the answers.
yeah,
Then I cried out to the universe and said, help. I was very unhappy in finance, really depressed, living in London.
yeah.
There were terrorist attacks going on. It was really horrible
Oh,
time to
yeah.
be there. Like just right by my house, somebody got shot by the police. And so I needed a way out, which was the way in, right?
Yes.
And it happened during COVID, and I met Hazel, and we did lots of plant medicine ceremonies together
Yeah,
in Holland, and we learned a different way of working that we never learned from anyone else before in working in co-creation with the medicine and spirit to learn what is actually needed in order to ground and evolve as a human being rather than just filling up the mind and the brain with information, right? And what happened was Hazel taught me how to open my heart again, which was firmly shut, and that was causing the biggest and most problems, which you can
Yeah.
see in humanity, especially in the masculine. She
Yeah.
taught me the power of the feminine, and I listened. And it's taken her over 4 years to deliver the meaning and power of art to me because it's been so difficult to understand. And but what happened was, and this is where it gets interesting, and this is might pique the interest, especially for men, is
Yeah.
that when I was working with psychedelic medicine, I went into I wanted to know what the matrix was, and it's the most dangerous thing I've ever done in my life. It nearly killed us and me multiple times. It's not something I condone, and this is my disclaimer. Don't ever do what I've done. It's too dangerous. Don't ever do it. I will tell you. You don't need to. I will tell you. You can ask me. I found out why this has happened to humanity, who is doing it, why they're doing it. And what I learned that was most powerful above all else is that everything that we attach to, I'm just going to name off some stuff: ADHD, depression, suicide, murder, prostitution, hatred, judgment, distraction, boredom, disruption, cynicism, atheism, dogma, genocide, confinement, violence, manipulation, decadence, bipolar, CPTSD, being spoilt little brat, lying, being discontent, being unhappy, being overly compliant to a distorted system, tragedy, lackluster, burning out, lamenting, being aloof, being overly defensive, censoring other people, damnation, denial, perversion, bullying, exploitation, being misled, control, stagnation, being cocky, being hypersensitive, being embarrassed, being a clown, being codependent, interrupting people, spending too much time in the sun, even, being unruly, being a homewrecker, feeling lonely, codependent, all of it I saw as entities, demonic entities that were inside me. And I knew because I'd found out how it happened, I knew none of it was mine. None of it. And when I did that, just like in the movie, I came out of the Matrix and I vomited. Luckily, I had a bucket on my bed. I was on my own when this happened, and it was on an eclipse, and I nearly lost my mind. And there were a few times where I actually thought I was going to lose my mind and I was going to die, and I had to ring Hazel because she was in another country at the time, and she helped hold me and bring me down. And I had to do an exorcism. I've had to do loads of them, but it wasn't a demonic exorcism. It was an extraterrestrial exorcism, mate. Much stronger than any demonic exorcism. Okay, it's the kind of level I went to. Okay, right. So I'm no joke. I've done the work, and I've gone places people would never dare to because it's stupid. It's really stupid what I did, but I felt like I needed to do it, and I'm glad I did in a way because I understood why it's so difficult being human and why everybody is so lost. And I know how to get through all of it. And I know how to pull anyone out of that. I even stopped Hazel in real time from losing her mind, from going insane, because I knew it was an entity of insanity. When you realize that, you can cure anything. So I'm a true healer. And so because I learned that none of this is ours, I started going on an intense purification journey. of killing all of them every day. And how do you kill them? Confess.
Beautiful.
I'll go back to 2020. This would have been my confession. I'm a home wrecker. Every time I come home, I take my shit out on my girlfriend. Why? Because I didn't want to take responsibility for the choices that I was making because I was unhappy. So, what better place to dump than on someone who will allow me to, someone I love,
Amazing.
right? This is the level of purification I'm talking about. Full on exposure, full confession, full responsibility. How can I make it up to you? Well, you can stop taking your shit out of me. Okay. What steps do I need to take that? Okay. Do you know what I did? I changed my diet. Within 10 days, I immediately changed.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
started doing exercise, I was doing Pilates, I was doing yoga. I took full responsibility. I started writing a journal. I started planning my goals. I even started doing self-authoring, Jordan Peterson's online course. I started reading self-help books. We spoke last week about how the chimp paradox changed my life. And The Body Keeps the Score, incredible book,
Yeah.
incredible book. And I tried everything, you know. I even went down the route of psychiatric medicine, which has entities in it. Yeah, even food, supermarket food has entities in it. The sh
100%.
processed sugar has a surprise, surprise, has an entity of slavery in it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it enslaves the mind. I felt it. I took it when I had medicine and I followed it where it went, and it went to the back of the brain. And I started seeing black people in Africa chopping up cane sugar. Can you imagine? This is what I've had to take responsibility for. It's really painful because I'm partly responsible for the slavery because I eat the sugar, I buy the sugar.
You do.
It's commoditization.
Yeah. And it's just, do I understand, it's impossible to even feel the pain of of
Yeah,
the generations of people that
yeah, right. And do you
take.
know what? Do you know what do you know what goes on with black people in Africa? Do you know what? I felt it. There's a tribal split. I don't know how many thousands of years ago, and they feel responsible. They don't deserve to be going through what they're going through. They don't deserve racism. They don't deserve slavery. They don't deserve to have their heritage stripped from them. They don't deserve any of that. And there's a four-way split. You look at the four directions, there's four colors, four races, but there's actually seven directions, right? And so this goes out into the whole of humanity. It's genocidal split between tribes and separation. This is why, and I led this back to the other day when the tiger came in and I felt all of this come in, you know, this huge split of separation and me coming in and saying no, right? This guy, I went on the news and go, what's going on? And the guy went into a skyscraper in New York and just indiscriminately opened fire, killed four people and then himself. And I could feel that that was in me because of the pain of the other side of the crossover, right? So do I go out and take my gun and you know, mass murder, which is what he did, or do I feel the pain of everything that's been ripped and torn away from me, my whole family, the whole world torn away from me? Because, like with the woman who jumped in front of the train, everything is mirrored back in the spiritual sense, right? He killed his family. By going out and shooting those people, he killed his family,
Yeah.
right? Because he couldn't take the responsibility for that loss. This is the level at which I'm working at. They are killing us through these entities, right? If I could have grabbed that guy before he decided to kill those people, I could say, mate, this isn't yours. I will teach you how to take it out of you and get rid of it, and you will feel complete relief and grief. It, you know, it's possible. It really is. It's possible to heal anything. It's possible to bring peace on earth through understanding this process of taking responsibility for entity removal.
Thank you for sharing all that. It's beautiful. Yeah. Thank you for just letting us know that that's. I mean, when you came into my world, I was going to close my door. The wind's come through and blown it open. One sec. We're back to being contained. There's a big gust of wind that came through.
Good. We need the wind.
Yeah, it really. My flame nearly went out the candle as well.
Wow.
Um, yeah, I think when you came into my life, you were definitely killing off these. Yeah, I can see why where you were at, but you've come this far, and you really put yourself in there, doing the work at a depth that a lot of men that may tune in to listen to this, they won't get to that level, for many, many reasons. And one, you've said, look, you don't actually need to go to that level. I've done it. I've done it for us. So just ask me. I think that's a really important point for anybody watching this, and even a young person, because the young guys that I'm coming across at the moment, there seems to be a flood of young people just coming through. Um, yeah, it's concerning just how vulnerable they are, but again, we've got to have that sense of non-judgment, and if they're on their path, putting their artwork together, figuring out what their tools are, what best ones fit, whether it's plant medicine, whether it's breath work, whether it's going on some retreat, whether it's changing job, whether it's changing diet, whether it's changing partner, whether it's confessing that they're actually gay, whatever it takes. You're right. There comes a point where confession's very, very important, but it needs to be witnessed by the right people.
Yeah.
It needs to be held by the right people. I think that going back to my story, I look back, yeah, there was some clumsy mistakes. Of course, I was naive, didn't really know too much about opening up my spiritual self in this lifetime. But then once I got more into my dance and rhythm of what fit for me, um, it felt like I was home. It felt like I'd always knew it. And so the more you grow closer to your own heart and get to know yourself and what are the tough, like you said, you and Hazel asked things like, well, what is it you don't want to tell me? It's exciting when my kids challenge me, as I've touched on, and a lot of people would shut their children down at that point and not listen. I take that bit very, very seriously because inside I'm actually dying. I feel like totally exposed and I could go into denial, but I don't. I say, there's the work. I'm still me, can be mean to mum. I can still, and it could be to do with wheat, sugar. It could be right down to that cell level of the proteins, the carbs, everything, and how we've even poisoned that. I mean, it is all up for change. Everything's up for change. Everything's ready for change. And we're ready for change. You and I are constantly ready for change. And we've got to be okay with change. And I think a lot of men are scared of change. People are scared of change. But I think men in general are scared of change. Um, it's my dog. Excuse me, Alice, you might have to pause it.
Yep.
Ragnar, please stop that. Yeah, so just give me a minute because I was disturbed there and sort of unanchored me a bit. Just give me a minute. Yeah, I think what I'd like to say is just how proud I am of you, Alistair, that you've gone as far as you can at this moment,
Yeah.
and it's now time for change. And you've seen how you can go about that. And this is what men can do. They can resource themselves for finding depth within themselves that is basically love for themselves, love for the bits they don't like, the bits that are shadowy. And oh shit, the kids keep pointing that out, but I'm not going to listen it to them because I know I'm not like that. Well, you know, listen to the people that care about you, listen to the people that, and don't forget that they in themselves have got their shadows as well. So they're working on that as well, regardless of their kids or not. So we're all triggering each other and blah, blah, blah. But I think it's about the acceptance, the non-judgment, and then maybe in my layers, compassion. Like
Yeah.
I am struggling sometimes with, especially some of these youngsters coming through where their parents are so toxic, and these children are so creative. Well, they're not children, but
Yeah.
21-year-olds,
Mm.
so creative. Like even the way they dress, like and they've got they identify as male, but they've got female genitalia, and it's like all that gender ideology and identity, and it's interesting to hold space for them. I've had a series of it last week, but just how beautiful they are, and I'm just wondering about maybe a conversation out in the future for any males that are out there that feel that they're feminine, or
Yes, please.
I'm just interested in that
Yeah, we can talk about that.
area, what that actually means. These one of my clients last week has actually had already some surgery,
Oh,
and it's like I've never held space for that. But obviously, in that, again, that compassion and non-judgment, I was just in those realms. I was just in that station. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not journeying in my own thoughts anywhere. I'm just going to stay in this station of compassion and non-judgment. And I anchored down and I just
mm.
listened. And it was just, yeah, it'd be nice to just have warrior sessions on, is there males out there that are struggling to be male because of wanting to be female, and just what that actually means. And looking at that could be an interesting warrior session. But it's interesting how that's come through. And again, being truthful about, is that a nature thing? Is that something
No,
that
it's an entity
that
thing.
okay? Just hear me out though. Is that a Gaia thing going? The male's not doing the male thing, and the female's not doing the female thing. So I'm going to make a hybrid.
I
And it
can
just
see,
makes
yeah.
sense because we've got species so we're wiping ourselves out. We know that. We're wiping ourselves out. We're not functioning from the heart. We're functioning from the head. But it's like, so we down to the basics of physics and nature and chemistry and biology and the sciences and everything. It looks like not looks like, we are damaging so much, and we need to stop. We spoke about just stopping, just stop, even for a minute in your day, just stop. But we've got things breeding with other things, creating new species, even down into the insects and plants, and so all these hybrids have been created. I'm just wondering if it's something along that line that's happening naturally, that we've got the future. We When we know we can do the work to bring the divine feminine masculine within ourselves, within each entity as each energy being. But if that's not working because people don't trust anybody anymore, is biology, physics, chemistry naturally just going that way to create a male body that was once female so it can get fucking idea of how to be, and vice versa with the male and female? I'm just intrigued into that conversation about how's this, where's this come from? How's this thing? Men have cross-dressed forever. Men have,
Yeah, okay. That's an expression.
yeah,
Yeah.
we've wore skirts.
Yeah.
We came from being naked to where we're at, fully too clothed.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm
Yeah.
just dropping that in as something that's been going on for me. But coming back to us or warrior sessions and masculinity and where you're at, what you've shared, I just want to say
Yeah.
I'm really proud. I'm really proud that you're able to now go on. I'm excited about your journey now. I'm excited. I'm excited in many ways because um, you're completely you're completely ready, and like me, I I've entered something that I know is not going to be suitable for most men, to sit with a woman that wants to kill herself, or a woman that has to go back to her rapist husband, but she can't because she's entrapped and he's her carer. So I'm doing work that a lot of people couldn't do, but equally, I feel the washing machine in that, because that money really is coming from a dark source, a dark energy. We've spoke about how the mental health system does not want people to go back into their life story to find the healing, to find the truth, and to get their power back.
Yeah.
So I'm doing my part of the brotherhood work. So you in that circle at the top, in the light, shining the light above earth. See, I'm at the bottom, I'm underground. I'm sort of, I think you're definitely, out of the two of us, you are definitely more comfortable. Like you said, I'll go to Glastonbury. I'll be the priest down there if necessary. You know what I mean? Like, wow, what a thing! Like and you do it. You just go down. I know you would. Like that's a real. Where me, I'm in the feeling I have of today's session. It's more revealing. Is go, Alistair. You do that. Like I'm down here. But we are on a level, but it's a different level. It's a different feeling today with you. It's a feeling of you've got a different energy about you, and you're gonna make things happen because of that energy. I am definitely more ready for a break. I've been doing a lot of deep work with a lot of people, and equally, I'm not separate to that. I'm with them, so I'm ready for a break. But I am truly excited about what's going to happen for you coming up, and
Yeah.
how you can get back to resourcing yourself to get you to where you need to be. You're where you've come up against what you've come up against, and it's like, right, time for a change. Hazel's gone, oh, what a relief. And suddenly it's like, right, here we go.
Can you imagine though the level of conversations we'll be able to have because I'm going back
Oh
in?
no, of course.
It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it. And I think, I've had massive conversations now outside of working with somebody, with others that I'm finding these extraordinary people from it. So that this art that's come from that has been incredible. And I'm finding people that I can grow from, I can learn from. We can't sit on a mountain and think that we know it all. The person that does that is very, very foolish. And I'm not saying a tiger's foolish. I'm not saying that. They're smart.
But that is
They're
the shadow of the tiger
yeah,
being
okay.
a being a fool, tomfoolery.
Yeah, cool, thank you. I think you're absolutely right. The day of the guru's over, mate. It's all about back to more than human. What is it to be me? Where's the work? How do I even begin? And you give us a nice quick review. And I think we need more men to come on to share how they're doing it. How are they finding the stripping back of the ego, the fear,
Yeah,
the attachment, the
yeah.
abandonment, the loss, the grief, the hurt, the big daddy script, the fucking, I can handle anything. You know, let's open it up. This is what these sessions are. Let's open it up. Let's hear other men's stories. Like we learn from each other.
Well, I'm
This
I'm
is
actually I'm interviewing women.
well, everyone's welcome, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I've had Carolina on, and I'm going to have Katie on. Katie's life story is fascinating, you know. So w women,
Yeah.
I want the voice of women to be heard as well.
Of course, mate. Excuse me. Well, of course.
Yeah, uh,
Definitely.
but I wanted to bring us back on track, right? You brought in gender,
Yeah.
transgender, and what I want to propose to you is
Yeah.
because it's not a simple topic, right?
Oof. No.
What I want to propose to you is that you start talking to these people and you come to me and you start sharing the kind of things that they're struggling with and we'll investigate it. I have investigated it to a certain level and I
Okay.
was told directly from spirit that it's a but I was told
But
directly from
yeah.
spirit, so this isn't me, but this from spirit that it's to do with a slavery implant, right? There's different forms of slavery, but the way I see it is that, like what's happened with me, is I was so wounded by my masculine that could make me gay, right?
Of course.
That could make me want to be a woman. And so that's where this imbalance comes from. That's how I see it, is there's this internal balance that
Okay.
doesn't, that isn't, it might not be that strong in this lifetime. But I've noticed in the generations that have come after us, there's a lot of brainwashing from phones. We didn't have phones. We didn't grow up with phones. We didn't
No.
grow up with this level of toxic implantations from a network that is essentially being manipulated by AI and loads of other stuff in other countries for political reasons and power.
Yeah.
And the way I see this gender confusion is an internal battle, an internal fear. And people believe that they can be androgynous, but that's not how it works. It's really a large majority. I asked Spirit one day, what percentage am I masculine, what percentage am I feminine? I was expecting to hear 50-50, but I'm 95% masculine, right? And for for men, there's this real toxic implant of if they don't have a creativity in their life, like creating art, creating passion, and you're working for someone else, or working with something that just really isn't creating, then there are huge blockages.
Yeah, man.
And like I said, all of these can be narrowed down to woundings, entities of
Yeah.
wounding.
Of course.
And what's on the other side is really beyond any expectation because
Yeah.
when you start clearing these out and you come into wholeness, it's there's no words for the amount of love and joy and genius and creativity. There isn't. And these people that are having operations to change their sex, that's mutilation. You can't change your sex. You can't. It's an illusion. And if people are going down that route, and I've seen that there are people who have had the sex change, realized it was wrong, and it's devastated their life, and now they talk about it. Those are the brave kind of people I would love to have on this show,
Yeah.
right? The people who have taken it to the limits, who have you know, really deeply betrayed themselves and said, "Yeah, do you know what? I screwed up." Because that's what I always do. I've betrayed myself so many times. I've screwed up so many times,
Of course we have.
and I've had to in order to come into a really pure alignment so
Yeah.
that I can understand the truth. And if
Yeah.
it's not coming from love, it's really easy for me to sense the impurities in it. And everybody has their own soul path, yeah, but this whole gender thing has been very strong of recent, and it's really gotten out of hand.
Mm. Yeah.
But I wanted to bring it back to about men
Yeah.
choosing for love. You could say that this is related, right? Men choosing for love internally, the feminine and the masculine. But how does the masculine work with the feminine internally and externally, right? And we're talking about control, and you keep bringing up the word judgment, and I'll speak into that. It's very about, being on the mountain. It's linked to grandiosity. It's where, okay, I have this strong intellect and I know a lot, whereas women are less concerned about knowing things and more about feeling things and talking things through, which I joked about in our last session about that. Well, that's the things that the masculine have lost, right? We don't talk things through. It's
Mm.
too much enablement and too much thinking,
Mm.
too much ego chatter.
Mm.
And this this fear of being in the heart creates an enormous amount of control and logical thinking. It doesn't show the bigger picture.
Mm.
And I had to go through this, and it's really a self-decision. It's really a self-taught journey from me as well. But it really is a difficult choice to say, I'm going to give up everything that I thought I knew. I'm going to give up who I think I am,
Yeah.
and I'm going to give it back to spirit so that spirit can cleanse it and give it back to me when the time is right. And this is what I did. And it's very difficult.
Mm.
And I'll give you a prime example which I can help you with, and all men in this time, because we are coming into autumn now. The 1st of August is Lammas,
Yeah.
the beginning of autumn. Every man has a problem with a woman's menstrual cycle. And right now we are going into Gaia's season menstrual cycle of letting go. And this is very toxic on relationships, because I would say 99.999% of men, whether they believe it or know it or not, unconsciously have the abandonment wound. And the abandonment wound makes us feel like we're being torn apart. And it's triggered by when a woman goes into her menstrual cycle, which is the autumn phase. It's week 3. And then she goes into the death. And this, you'll notice, like there must, I hope there's some study somewhere, but you'll notice that in every relationship, if the masculine stays, if he doesn't go off and do his own stuff, if he stays in, the home or wherever in contact with that woman when she's going through her letting go stage of autumn, enormous arguments and separation. A lot of relationships end between August and September, because on top of their menstrual cycle, there's the Gaia nature's menstrual cycle where all the leaves start falling off the trees going into winter. And it's a real big ego death. And it triggers the masculine into dropping everything and letting go everything that he cares about. That's the distortion of it, right? But you have to let go of the stuff that's not serving you. But it's so confronting that it causes confrontation with the woman. It's taken me a long time to heal that with Hazel. Like, she's in her autumn now, and I'm doing great because I'm letting go of my stuff. Like, you can see I'm in a different energy to last week, right? And it's because she's in her autumn, which means I'm also letting go as well. But before I had real trouble. We had to segregate. I had to say, right, you stay in your room. I'm not going to talk to you for 4 or 5 days until you've come into your death phase. But the change around for that for me was not just bringing awareness to it and putting a reminder on my phone saying stay away for Hazel
Yeah.
and don't interfere with her stuff. But the change around for me was I gave her a massage 1 week and I looked after her instead of blaming her for all my woes. And I think this is what women want.
Love that.
Yeah, they want to be returned.
I'd like you to share more on your knowledge of menstrual cycle as you know, because Lexi obviously informs us, that's my wife, of which stage she's at. And you know, we're as a family aware of all those terms that you've just given. And I think a lot of men don't know that. But it's interesting facts about relationship split ups and coinciding with well, you know,
Yeah, yeah. And if a woman's on
very
a
interesting.
yeah,
Very, makes sense, makes sense.
yeah, but if a woman is taking what do you call them? The pill.
Yeah, the
Um,
pill, yeah, the anti
birth control.
birth control. Well done.
If a woman is taking birth control, that's really screws up her rhythm,
Yeah.
and it's very toxic for that woman. And so it creates that other issue in relationship of like, oh, I don't want to get you pregnant. How do we make love? I don't want to wear a condom. All those kind of things.
Yeah.
And so there's a whole balance around that as well.
I agree with you on the abandonment as well. I love that. I think there should be more conversations around. I mean, they reckon some of the earlier pioneers of psychology said we were abandoned from the beginning when, you know, we come out the womb. It's just immediately like apparent that we're suddenly on our own. I know that we've been raised, well, some of us have, some of us are not. We're born into all sorts of miseries and sufferings, but actually is abandonment from the beginning. And we have to, I think it's a lifelong struggle, abandonment, because if we're not speaking our truth as well, and we're not heard or witnessed, and you've touched on that today, like we need to confess, like, and I don't think I'm very good at talking about, especially to Lex, about her not being available. And I think being more informed about the menstrual cycle for men. I mean, I've got so many books. One I'm meaning to get to because it's yeah, anyway, it's about all of that. Um I think it's such a piece of really important knowledge for men to be more informed about. I mean, you ask the common man anything about his wife's, well, no, I'm just saying, the man that's got a wife, the person that's in a relationship with a woman, anything about the menstrual cycle, most men wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah, exactly. It's really important for a woman to feel safe in the autumn because it basically determines how she feels when she comes into spring. So if she comes
Nice.
out the other side feeling crap, then she hasn't let go of what she needed to let go of.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which means that then compounds into the next month. And if there's abuse in that relationship, she never gets to actually fully let go of what she needs
Yeah,
to.
of
And
course.
so
Love
she
it.
starts to become inflamed, starts to become ill and develop, problems, put on weight, all these kind of things because of the abuse, right? And so
Mm.
if she's not giving that freedom to let everything go through the blood, and it is also energetic,
Yeah.
then she can't come out with a spring in her step and be
No.
this grand big person because
Yeah.
essentially these men with narcissistic behavior, and this is what I went through, I had to heal myself, is they promote stagnation, which means they don't want change, which means they don't want their woman to grow out of fear of losing her. Again, rejection and abandonment. And it's the mother wound. And I healed that. It's the Holy Grail. I healed that on February 28th. I have to integrate it, but spiritually, it came in for me, the antidote for it. And it was a really, really deep wound, and I've had to take responsibility for it. And
Yeah.
it's to do with separation. and other things.
Amazing. Love it. I love your tools and your bags of knowledge. Yeah, it's really important stuff. And I think again, it's all about that that confession of we don't want to change, we don't want other people to change. This is what the big problem's been. This is what the huge like we've never seen our potential ever. I'd like to see a bit more of Michael in this lifetime and what and I like to see it as when I'm uncomfortable, I seem to learn a lot about me, i.e., the kids put me in an uncomfortable position by pointing things out. That's
Yeah,
uncomfortable. But
yeah,
you don't want that, do you? You want to fucking run.
yeah. See, I'm quite strange like that because I'm like, hey, let's have another uncomfortable session today.
Well, this is what I'm saying though. I'm getting more comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Right, yeah, yeah. That's devotion. It
Is
is.
that what it
That's
is?
devotion. Yeah,
Good. Well, I'm happy that that's happening for me because I'm actually now noticing that people can also be very uncomfortable with me and they don't even know me. And that's great. So I think people on an energetic level know when someone's gone somewhere. We don't even need to have to speak of it. And I'm hoping that you're going to find that by going back in, as you say, going back in, but the light around you will be different. I'm wondering what will come of that. That's what's going to be interesting for me. Will the will the average city worker, as they realize that money's not changing anything, as they realize getting more stuff isn't making them more happy, will they turn to someone like you in the city? And there is where you'll find, woo, okay, now the work can begin. That's what I'm going to be intrigued because I think as things get more depleted, as it becomes harder to stay away from the fear of Christ, is running away from the reality of everything, which most people can't see because they're just ignoring it by buying more stuff and ignoring it. I'm wondering as they realize as things get harder and it swallows up more people that were once just, you know, yeah, there's the part that I don't want to look at, but I'm just about yeah, it's not got me yet, and I'm still running. Oh, still running away from it. I'm wondering as that time gets tougher, i.e., the cost of living rises,
yeah.
as
Mm.
the whole economic, the whole environmental, everything starts to over the next 20, that just about where people are being comfortable, they're not anymore. They've got to turn to something, and it's within inside themselves. They've got to turn inwards. So
Yeah.
you're just preparing. You're preparing, but I reckon this new landscape you're going into is going to be very interesting, and it'd be interesting to see how you plant, how your garden's going to grow. It's going to be really interesting to see what comes up for you, what comes up for you, and what comes of it. It's going to be fascinating. I'm just really pleased. I'm really pleased for you, like seriously, because
Yeah, I'm quite frightened, if I'm honest.
I bet,
But
I
I'm
bet,
I'm
I
I'm
bet.
gonna face that fear.
Oh yeah, yeah. Do that.
Mm.
Do do.
But you're
Yeah,
you're talking about people running away, right? We spoke about this last week, I think, and this is people running towards the cliff. This is what people don't know. And I want to say to you wholeheartedly that it's a really good idea to stay indoors on the 9th of September. It's going to be a really sacred, holy day.
I've got it written down. Thanks to
Yeah,
you.
if you can really find a way
Yeah,
to completely surrender and relax, because um, I got the message that it's the split between the old and the new. It's like the 4 or 5D split, and it's going to create for a lot of people an enormous amount of grief inside because there's going to be agree for tearing open, like I spoke about the splitting of the tribe. There's people who have decided that they don't want to stay, and it's the spiritual split. And then there'll be an integration of that where it'll actually happen, and that will be known as the Great Morning or the Great Hello, you know. Put a positive spin on it, the Great Awakening.
Yeah, exactly. The great turning. And you're right. I think this is why so many of us are doing the work. I appreciate that, you're working it the way you're working. I'm doing what I'm doing, and there's many, many other people out there preparing. Naturally, this is the right thing to be doing, but for some people, it's absolutely scary, terrifying, and they'll keep running as fast as they can from having to enter into this deep work that's going to be needed because it's obvious, I think, to us when you spell things out, even down to our food sources and everything has just been completely and utterly it's it, it's been an absolute shit show, and it didn't need to be like this, and that's what's frightening. It didn't need to be like this. So
Yeah,
um it's exciting, and you're right, we need to put a really good spin on it. And I don't quote books and things, but I do a lot of research, and a lot of it, I like you said in one of our warrior sessions, sometimes you just get one thing from it, and that happens a lot, and I agree with that. You just get some golden nugget. But um I don't, I'm not able to restore information like in my mind, but it's in my heart and in all my fiber. And it's like I know something big's coming. I can feel it. I can feel something.
yeah,
And I don't have dates and I don't have predictions. I know that we're preparing for something very, very big. And whether it's man-made, environmentally made, bacterial made, I don't know, you know, virally made, it's
yeah. Well, there is going to be another lockdown.
I'm no none of that, just in general something big, and I see it as like you said, an awakening, a great turning. Um and I think it's
Yeah,
it's exciting times to be alive. It's really exciting to be alive.
you're right.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry, but it's an exciting time to be alive.
agreed.
There's always suffering. That's life. This
Yeah.
it's
The difficulty with trying to predict these things is that, and I've spoke about this in my book actually, is about how to decode spiritual information, like clairvoyance, these images that come through, how to ground them into what is actually going to happen.
okay.
And it requires purification through the heart, not the mind, because when the mind latches on, it can misconstrue what they mean.
That's
Like for
it.
example, in the Aztecs, they got the vision of take the heart out of the body and lift it up to the gods, and they took that as sacrificing people.
Sacrifice.
It was actually about heart surgery and cleanse the heart through sacrifice, And so they started killing off and chasing off the shamans, and that's why we're in the mess we are in today, right? And so the vision that I got, which I'm still trying to decode, is that one half of the earth will be hit by this massive solar flare, and the other half will be in darkness. And so there'll really be like this 50-50 split.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's really profound. And I saw this crack as well go down
Yeah.
the west coast of America, which is where the Ring of Fire is going off at the moment. And Hazel and I spoke about this on Prophecy Walkers about a year, at least a year ago, maybe two, about the downloads we were getting from Spirit saying that there's going to be, a global massive earthquake near the Ring of Fire because it's shaped like a snake, and Gaia is a snake, a dragon snake, a serpent. And so there's all of this stuff that needs decoding. So when will it happen? What will happen? Will it happen how we think it is? No, nobody knows how it's going to happen, really. But all of these visions that people are sharing, they're all very similar. The cracking open inside, the earthquake inside, the tidal waves inside, like China's being flooded repeatedly. It's not even on mainstream news. Italy's having weather problems all over the world, right? And they all have an internal meaning.
Yeah,
So that's we're treating ourselves that way,
that's it.
and we're
That's
treating the
it.
planet that way, you know?
That's it. 100%. My son's always predicted ever since he's been very, very little and could voice his mind, um, and we're a big family of dreams. We like to, as you put, decode dreams. What's in it? What do we feel? It's all in it. Our children have amazing dreams. This house is evidently a bit of a portal because of the amount of work that's been going on. I don't know whether that's true. There's Reiki symbols under the wall, like this under the foundations. I've put this, I've gone deep into the soil here. I've put in all sorts of crystals around. Like it's definitely, a light space. But Moses, my boy, sees wind. He's always seen huge
Yeah,
vortexes. That's what he's always said.
yeah,
And and we said, do you think you're going to be a meteorologist? I wonder whether that's what your calling is. Are you going to be a man that studies the weather? Anyway, or he said, no, it doesn't feel pleasant. It doesn't feel good for us. It feels so he's always seen that we're all going to get taken up in a big wind.
yeah. I've seen that. It
He said, well, as
creates,
long as we're together,
yeah, it creates a mini ice age. That's one of the visions I got. I'm not the only person to say that either. Cryon has said that. Cryon's a channeler on YouTube in America. He used to be an engineer. His name's Lee Carroll, and he just started getting these downloads, and he predicts all this stuff. Like he predicted the terrorism in, of Taliban and ISIS and stuff like that. And he's predicted that we'll go through a mini ice age because of this change.
yeah, yeah,
So the wind is
yeah.
is part of that. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's just running away from it, aren't they? And they're just in complete denial. But yeah, it's an interesting thing to listen to your children talking about that. And
Yeah, that's fascinating that you have those conversations with your children. I think it's amazing.
yeah, I mean, I don't remember having that stuff around the table. Whether it was just yeah, it's a dream. That was it. It was shut down. But no, we explore it. We look for the metaphor. We look for the meaning. We look for the message. We look, like you say, I did. We've never called it decoding, but I could say to the children, I think we're trying to decode things. Alistair decodes. What do you think about?
Yeah, or
But
trans.
yeah, exactly. We don't ignore them. They're very, very powerful. So yeah, he's had that. Oh my days. He still has it. So yeah, it's a really interesting time to be alive, and it's the best time of our lives, in my opinion.
Agreed. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it's a great time to be alive. I'm glad I'm on this path with you. I'm glad what's happening to you is happening. And I think it's because we're coming from our hearts. We're really, yeah, really making, I'm really with my inner child. I'm really with that young Michael. I'm with that maturing Michael. And I'm with, potentially, I don't know, that future Michael as well. I'm creating already that potentially that future Michael of, somebody that's, somebody that the kids are pointing out now hasn't yet got those tools. And
Yeah.
hopefully I'll get those tools. I'll be more patient. I'll be more considerate. I'll be more kind. I'll be more available. I'll be less irritable. I'll be, you know,
Agreed. You will. Yeah. I'll be here to help you hold space.
I know you will.
Yeah. Uh, it's been quite a lot, hasn't it, this conversation?
I just love it. It has. And I mean, I really, really love these sessions, but it has been a lot. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I'm probably happy to close from my end.
Yeah. On your
Candles are
bed.
burnt down loads, which is really nice.
Hmm.
Really, really nice. That's
Yeah,
good.
mine's
Yeah, he's done well.
yeah, it's dripping everywhere. Um,
So yeah, I think I just want to say that, yeah, I'm really grateful for your time, really grateful for this space. Um, feels a lot of things are happening, which is really, really great. Um, and yeah, from my perspective, like I said, I've shared in this chat, feeling tired, ready for a break. So I can't join you for the next couple of weeks. Look forward to though returning to our sessions. Feel very held by you, very
well, you all
held.
have a lot to talk about, won't you?
Yeah, yeah, I feel very held. Um, feel very honored to have you in my life. Things are really, really good. Um, but ready to just switch off and yeah, unplug a bit and um yeah, chill out for a couple of weeks with the kids and the wife. So yeah, proper excited about that. Bit more to do. Couple of clients later on today. Some on where we know it's Tuesday.
How's that woman doing?
Yeah, we had a few more sessions together and then we spoke actually coming on the back of our chat. We spoke about how how does she want to be held in in the system? Because I'm very different to the way other people are working with her. And I asked her to explain that. She said, "Well, you really listen." And I said, "Wow, okay. Well, that's good." And she said, "And you also, it feels to me like you've really been somewhere." And I said, "Okay, that's interesting." So she said, "The reason I landed on it, since I've had a few sessions with you, so let's say because they're not hours, they're not like 1 hour and that's it. She has to leave. She's in a safe space. She can come and go as she pleases, but she can check in with me, and I'm there, lone working. And I reckon over a course of 8 hours of work with her, sitting in the garden or doing a puzzle with her or just sitting and, chatting, um, she came to the realization that she's been trying to kill herself to go to her. You'll have to wipe that out. To go back to her husband of 30 years that died. And I just said you couldn't save him. And she just absolutely wept like a baby. And then and I wouldn't hand her the tissues, which is what normally people do. And she wept and she wept and she wept. And I just sat and waited. And then she looked at me and went, "You're right." And I said, "Well, I want to give thanks to somebody that I'm working with at the moment privately, and I'm not going to give his name, but he could be someone that is very, very powerful." And I said, "And we need to thank him," which was you. I didn't name you, but I said, "We need to just bring him into the space and just in our little hearts, just thank him," because I said, "He's here with us right now." And then she said, "That's why I'm trying to kill myself." And I said, "Do you realize how amazing that is that you, there's a reason why you're trying to do it. It's not just because you want to get out of the pain. It's because you want to return to the love that you have." And this is what's been shared to me from somebody that I am held by, that he was right. She can't find the love for him in the grief cycle. So she'll keep going round in it, acceptance, bargaining, denial, blah, blah, anger, blah, 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 blah. Depends what grief cycle you look at. Depends what piece of psychology. But let's just say she goes round the cycle. Round and round and round, round and round. People telling her there's no point in talking about the past because it won't help. And then you got people saying to her, well, just don't talk about anything. And so, yeah, so probably less than 6 man hours, woman hours, human hours, Gregorian hours. She confessed to wanting that love to feel as it once was. So what we decided, what we agreed would start an altar, something that she wasn't going to call an altar because she's got people that come round that may think it could be seen as. So we discussed what an altar really is. We discussed actually we have pictures of family on walls. We have
Yeah.
plants in the garden that represent. I've got roses from a great aunt. I've got all sorts of different plants from family members. So we talked about the moving, evolving energy of a sacred altar that represents in that moment, in that season, her husband. And she absolutely loved it. She loved it. And that was going to be one major resource. Now, no one's come up with anything like that. They've all gone, you need to do your CBT and your DBD, and you need to, it's a distorted cognitive problem you've got. And it's just like, no, she wants to be with a husband, you knobhead. She just wants to be with a fucking husband.
Yeah.
Proper pricks, right? And it's like, I said to her, try and describe the love. She goes, I can't. I said, right, perfect. The love you felt, blah, 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 her name. I said, is beyond any love that I may have felt or anybody else knew of. That might have been the deepest love two human beings have ever felt for each other. Who knows? It could have been the deepest love, the deeper than any ocean on any planet in the universe, deeper than time itself. And I said, and it's gone. But it's not gone with the altar. It's alive. And you can do it through all sorts of. So we discussed all different forms, or the stuff. What was he, a man of nature? Yeah. Where did he like to walk? What was it? What was his collection? What was this? What was his favorite color? What was his favorite smell? What was his favorite this? What was his? I said, can you see where I'm coming from? So she went away, and it was really amazing how it all happened for us because so much had come from that. I ended up having to speak to some very senior people within the establishment of mental health. And I've got a bit of a name for myself. And they're saying it seems to be all happening around you, doesn't it, Michael, at the moment? It's been a lot of things that you're pointing out about our system, Michael. I'm like, Alistair, this is us. So it's funny you should ask about that woman. It's not just that woman. There's something seriously secret happening around me within these schemes.
This is just like what's happening to me in London, mate. It's happening to
Yeah,
you. Yeah.
yeah,
You
yeah.
you tell her from me, you tell her from me, you tell your story as many times as it takes to feel like it's done.
That's
Like the
it.
story's done. Keep
That's
telling the
it.
story until it's done.
That's it. Yeah, so we had the dark come in as well, and we were together, and then an energy came in from quite senior level of um the clinical world, and my little inner child was immediately subservient to this person. The energy was so dark, I immediately was triggered and went into, I must be a people pleaser. I must be a yes person right now. It was like my nan was in the room. You just didn't argue with her. You didn't. She was what they call a battle axe. She was like, "Fuck me." She'd grind you down till you were like, yes, I'll do whatever you say, nan, because you're so mean and wicked and cruel and hard and yeah. So I just immediately, and I was like, and then suddenly I had my awareness of that happening. I was like, no. And I just chucked this light at her. She wanted me to agree that my work was causing this person worse unstabilization. And I went, explain stable. She went, well, medication. I went, that's never going to help anybody. And I had this interaction. It's like me and you, but it wasn't over a screen. It's face to face. It was proper intense. And I just said, I completely disagree with you. A person must talk about their story.
So who was this conversation with?
A clinical league psychologist,
Yeah, this is the biggest problem.
the person in charge of the system as it's seen, because then they're going into the commissioners going, we need £20 million to see the next year through of these people that are coming in, they're killing themselves because, well, quite frankly, they're off their heads, aren't they? So we need to secure their heads with medication. But what about their hearts? Fuck their hearts. Oh, really? Are we? Yes, because that's going to cost us more money. Is it? Is it? Yes. Have we looked at that evidence? No, no, no. No evidence. Hide the evidence. Hide it. And if we have, make it look like it doesn't help. Someone hide the evidence quickly. We've got Michael here and Alistair. Fucking hell. We're going to turn it all upside down. So there's this moment. Now you ask me that I'm like, holy shit, we really won a victory there. Because that person, I then went to another scheme, spoke to a fellow peer about that interaction that went, yes, you're the first person that stood up to her. Whoa. And I went, what? They went, do you realize who she is? I'm like, no. And they went, blah. I said, yeah, I was immediately triggered. I was immediately like in like this sense of, I'll be your servant. Like you're scary. You're powerful. And I'm like, what are you doing? This is your moment. Do it. Do it for all those that this woman's making suffer for no fucking reason. And I just went, Chah! And she was just like, her hair would, if the energy had, I swear it would have been like, she would have been like, oh, but she didn't say a word once I challenged her.
Wow.
I know. And that's thanks to you and these sessions that I was able to. That was the darkest energy I've ever seen in a human about, I'm not willing to lose my job, people, or my salary, or my Tesla car outside. Are you? Are you willing to lose your salaries? No, 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 no. Good. Right. Case closed. Keep them on medication. Good. But me coming in, ooh. So I spoke with the people that pay me money to do it and said, am I a problem? And the answer was, no, you're highlighting the problems. Keep doing it. And I went, really? They went, keep doing it.
Gosh, I would if I came in, the whole place would be in flames.
But you're not doing it. You're going to do it in the banking system. You're going to bring down capitalism, brother.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
No, but you'll be doing. I don't know. Let's see what your landscape's going to be. But yeah, how interesting you asked me. Oh, how was that? How did that? So it came to a beautiful end, even though right at the end could have been completely spoilt by me going, "Yes, Your Honor, I will never, never ask them to open their hearts again, Your Honor, ever." Guilty, guilty.
Wow. That's that's an incredible conversation. I'm glad I wish we'd started with that because that's exactly what I like to hear. That's amazing.
Me too. Me too.
I think you
Yeah.
did
I think we've been picked. I think we've been chosen for something. We've come together. There's something happening. We've said that. Let's just stay curious, stay playful, stay real, keep doing the work. But that's me. I'll
yeah.
hand over to you. Thank you for holding space for me.
Yeah, well done for holding your cool in that situation. That's very difficult, especially opposite a mind manipulator such as a psychiatrist. That's very toxic behavior. So well done for standing against the dark coalition.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, well done.
Woo! Warrior session.
Oh!
Oh, woo! Warrior sessions.
Yeah, yeah. So we've won a battle. Great. Let's keep going so we can win the war. Right.
Fucking right.
I'll bring this beautiful ceremony to a close. I'll thank all the archangels and our ancestors, both of us, and thank you to anyone who is listening. And thank you to the seven directions of in, direction of down, up. What direction did I do it in? It's north, east. Oh yeah. Where? Sorry. North, west, south, east, ending on new beginnings. There you go. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Oh, gosh. Wow. Excellent. So I would love it if you had an amazing time
Thank you, my friend.
and bring back some of the gender stuff with you. We'll
Yeah,
see.
they want me to have this opportunity with one particular person because they feel that I could be a really good fit for them.
Great.
So I could have some material. I could indeed.
Excellent. I really look forward to that because of one
Yeah,
of
well,
us.
when we're getting fed, we'll get fed.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice one. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. I get you.
Let's
Yeah.
just, yeah, it'll come when it comes.
Okay, buddy.
Peace.
Enjoy your time.
Thanks.
Bye bye.
Love, 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 love.